And welcome back to me channel, unless you are new here, and then just welcome. My name is Rusty, and this is me channel where I talk about my favorite movies, mostly horror, and my favorite music, mostly metal. And welcome to the conclusion of this little block of spotlights where I wanted to spotlight some movies from my top list that did not have individual videos of their own yet, and now they do. I like to give them love and shout out and talk a little deeper about why I loved them so much. And as I said in the last one, and this is the second time I'm recording this because my computer started updating Microsoft Edge or some shit and it fucked it all up. Computers, they're like AIs. They start doing shit in the background and they just do what they want, no matter what it's doing to the shit you're trying to do, right? So, yes, like I said, we are going to jump back into the little fishies, in with the fishies again, and we are going to talk about dangerous animals, right? Dangerous animals. I got the Steelbook. That's all you can get, actually. Little Tucker's Experience thing. Sticker. I did have to wait like 4.5 months after this came out to get it. Because when it first came out, I was like, how come, Blu-ray.com says that it's the release week, right? It's the release date, past the release date. How come it's only on Amazon, but it's nowhere else? Oh, well, that's because it's an exclusive. And I'm like, why did they make it a Bezazon exclusive? This company that does this, I think it was SDS or something, they don't usually do something like that. I don't know. Maybe they gave them a deal. And I'm like, well, it was stupid. Because let me tell you something. I try to give Bezazon, I give Bezos as little money as possible, right? And you have never done that, and now you're doing that, and I just have to be straight up with you. If you think for one fucking second that I am going to give Bezos $40 for a shark movie that not a lot of people even heard of, whatever it is that you're smoking, it did not come from a dispensary. That's all I can tell you. Because that's not going to happen. And you also probably lost a lot of good sales too, because most people aren't like that. There's stuff on their mind. Some put it on their wish list, but some, they go looking for it. They can't find it, or they do find it. Then it goes on. New movies come out. They forget about it. They don't go back and check and shit like that. So whatever. 4.5 months later, it was down to below $20. And I'm like, okay, well, now we're talking. You know what I mean? So how many sales did you lose? I hope that worked out for you. Because you didn't get the $40 from me. You got $19.99. That's all you were ever going to get. You should have just done that to begin with. And a whole of a lot more people would have bought it when it first came out, rather than having to wait 5 months later to buy it. I'm just saying. Not a good business deal. Not a good business decision. So Dangerous Animals were released in 2025. I do these little rants. So it was released in 2025. It was directed by Byrne. It was written by Nick Lepard, and it stars Hassie Harrison, Courtney, and Josh Heuston. Now, I really love Courtney. So that was a big draw for me. Courtney came on my radar in the early 2010s. He first really hit me and came, got put up here in a list, in Jack Reacher. He was the bad guy in Jack Reacher, and I love Jack Reacher. And he was just great in it, and I was like, who the fuck is this dude? And then I saw him in A Good Day to Die Hard, and Suicide Squad, and this really cool movie called Semper Fi that I love. And so I've got a lot of his movies. I like him as an actor. And so that was a big draw for me. And then as I started watching the movie, I'm like, this is a really, really interesting genre bend. genre mix. Because basically, he's a fucking psycho. He's a serial killer. This is some American Psycho shit. It's some Silence of the Lambs and Long Legs and stuff like that. That's the kind of horror this is. But you mixed it with a shark movie. And I don't know if I've seen that before, right? So you have like this Christian Bale type character, or Long Legs, or Silence of the Lambs. You have this psycho horror, this serial killer psycho horror. But instead of using an axe or a gun or a bomb or a knife, he's instead using sharks as his weapon to murder his victims. And I'm like, I'm not really sure I've ever heard of that before. I've seen a lot of serial killer horror movies and slashers and stuff like that, but I've never seen anybody use a shark as a weapon, So I thought that was pretty cool. And we're introduced to him when he takes his first couple. Well, they're not a couple, they were just friends, but when he takes this boy and girl out on his shark cage diving. And that part reminded me a lot of Open Water 3, which I really like. Open Water 3. That movie is based around that too, using cage diving for sharks as a tourist attraction is what they do in Open Water 3, which I highly enjoyed that movie as well. So it reminded me of that a little bit. Then we see him murder the guy, and we don't know if he murdered her or not, and that's how we're introduced to the movie. And it's like, okay, this is a psycho. This is definitely American Psycho, or in this case, Australian Psycho. So we have this, psycho killer who happens to be using sharks as a weapon. And then we're introduced to Zephyr and Moses, and we have the little romance kind of meeting and stuff like that. Thankfully, they didn't spend too much time on it, because if you've been around my channel, you know that put it this way, it's the reason that I haven't bought Hard Eyes is because people keep telling me that, and I try to tell them, I'm like, you do know that you're not selling the movie to me by telling me that, right? By emphasizing that, oh, well, it's a serial killer movie, it's a horror movie, it's pretty cool, but, there's a lot of, like, romance in it. Like, it's like a Hallmark romance movie meets Friday the 13th. And I'm like, well, that really doesn't interest me a fucking bit, to tell you the truth. So if y'all ever want me to buy this movie or anything, I would suggest you just tout the serial killer part, the horror part, and kind of let me forget about the romance stuff until I'm horribly having to watch it. But I don't really care about a lot of that. Little bit's fine. I'm like, look, can't y'all just do a skinny dip scene or a short scene or a little sex scene or a makeout scene or something, and then just get on with the horror? Action, blood, knives, running, screaming. Let's do that. If I want to watch, Victoria Principal in a Hallmark romance, I will go get a George Clooney movie or go to Hallmark Channel or some shit. Just like, can you please just do that? So I'm glad they didn't spend a lot of time on it. Rants. I love them. But so we get introduced to her and Moses, and it was really neat the way that he got her and the way Moses tracked him down. Then she gets on the boat, and we find out that this Heather girl is alive, and now it's become even more of this, keeping them hostage kind of thing while he plans his next murder. And he's very ingenious with this way that he uses sharks to murder his victims. Like I said, it was a very interesting genre blend. That part of it, her being, held captive and all, really reminded me of a movie called Dead Sea, which I really, really like that movie. That's a really good movie. And of this type of horror, there's no sharks involved. Although a couple of times you thought a shark was going to appear, but that was just Jaws fear. But that movie is more psychological serial killer type shit, and that part of this movie reminded me of that. But as we progressed and we found out how psycho Tucker is, Bruce Tucker, how psycho this man is, and we see all those videotapes and him keeping the little piece of hair, and then we actually see the murder scene, which then lets us know how many times he has done this and what he has done. He is just beyond psychotic, Not only is he beyond psychotic, it's psychotic enough just to use, regular murder weapons, but to actually sit down and devise all of this to where he's using sharks to do that and getting all the equipment and getting himself in the position to be able to do it is pretty fucking amazing and pretty fucking psychotic. So the pacing of the movie is very good. How long is it? 1:38. Check that box, didn't it? So the pacing of the movie is really good. They keep you very, very interested. You keep rooting for them. I so hated it when Heather got, eaten. That was just a horrible. I mean, it's bad enough to be eaten by Jaws, but to be lowered down to it by some psycho it like adds an extra bit of what the fuck to your death. So the way he hurt up Moses and Moses almost got him, and he killed that old man too as well. Tucker did. The way she tried to keep Moses alive, her eventual faces off with him and all. It was just an amazingly good movie. It made it onto my top 20 of 2025 because there were so many good movies in 25, in my opinion. I'm hoping 26 will be the same. But it made it on there. Beast of War beat it, of course, because Beast of War is way up on my list. But Dangerous Animals is definitely a fantastic shark movie. I had a wonderful time with it. I love Courtney. And I really thought the acting was good. Zephyr was a good hero. Moses, the poor boy, tried. He tried. The dance scene with Courtney, I was like, I don't know, dude. How old are you? How old is he? I don't know. I guess I'm getting personal in a not cool way to be towards someone. What do they call it? Ageist? Is that what I'm being? Is ageist? When was he born? How old is he? Usually it says there's a little bio, right? There's usually a little bio. I don't know. Doesn't say. What I'm saying, and I guess I'm being a little ageist, is dude, are you sure? You sure you're not past that point where that's going to be? Well, all I can say is that the dance scene was pretty funny, and it definitely had me eye rolling and going, this dude is crazy, but it was not Tom Cruise's Risky Business couch dance, let me tell you that. So I think that was part of the humor of it, was to go, you sure that dance wouldn't have been better if you'd have done it 10 years ago? Because I'm not quite sure you're in the shape to be doing that and coming across in any other way except, oh my God, what a psycho this dude is. Which might be disappointing. The lovely Miss Carter, who like told me, is like, oh, you're going to love the dance scene. And I saw the dance scene and I was like, well, that's funny and all of that. But if you're meaning that I was going to like think of it that way, I was just like, I don't know. Brad Pitt and Thelma and Louise, you are not. And you might could have pulled that off in the Jack Reacher days, but I don't know about that dance today. In other words, I think I was a little embarrassed for him. But it made its point. And isn't that another thing, though? What kind of psycho was he? Because I don't recall anything. There wasn't anything sexual in this movie regarding him. He wasn't graping them, that they ever even indicated. His entire orgasmic experience was just killing them, watching them die. There was no assaulting of them in that way. So that makes him, like I said, another unique character, another unique killer, is that he's not doing it for any of that reason. Because I think they kind of went out of their way to indicate to you that he had no interest in that. He didn't try it with Zephyr. He didn't try it with Heather. And there was no indication that, wasn't there like a quasi-masturbatory scene where he was watching the films and he was like internally orgasming, watching the murder, watching the shark eat them? I think that was his sex act, was doing that, because as far as physical to physical, he never did anything, nor was it ever indicated that he did anything. So that's an extra little psychological edge to this character of Bruce Tucker, which I thought was interesting. Which kind of begs the question, why a girl then? If it's just the murder, why a girl? But you can't understand psychos. You can try, but you can't really understand psychos. Nobody knows exactly what's going on up there that does that, because he was going to feed Moses to the shark, but I doubt he was. And wasn't he videotaping it when he was going to feed Moses to the shark? I think so. But I have a feeling he wasn't going to sit back, knock back a few, and do his little orgasmic thing watching that video. But maybe it was going to try a new bag. I don't know. He just wanted to hurt her, I think. But that's the psychological fun of this kind of genre mix. The end scenes, of course, with the battle, the final showdown between Zephyr and him, was amazing. And I think it was poetic. I think it was a very, very poetic ending, a very karmic ending. Because if there is any way that motherfucker needed to go out, it was in the jaws of a great white. So I think that was very good for him to experience the fear that he had subjected so many other people to. So that was a very satisfying ending and deserved for the movie that it was. So the cast was great, the writing was great, the directing was great, and I think it all paced out very well. To the point where you got to the conclusion. It was paced out very well. It got to the conclusion, and once again, what you want from a movie is when you reach the conclusion for it to be satisfying, that it satisfied you. And this movie definitely satisfied me. I got out of it exactly what I wanted. So, Jesus Christ, fucking people are so goddamn weird around here. But I definitely got out of it what I wanted. Yes, there was somebody creeping around my house. It's 12 o'clock at night. Murdered on video. But, back to it. Yes, I love this movie a great deal. I am very glad to have it. And, let me know what you thought about it. I had a great time. It definitely belonged in the top 20. It definitely belonged in the top 20. I enjoyed it in the top 20. It was a great movie for the year, and it deserved its place, is all I can say. So let me know. Yes, they rattled me. Okay, that fucking weirdo rattled me. But I'll see you in the next thing. Love you, miss you. Bye-bye. Always remember and never forget, you are a very, very special person. And I will see you in the next thing I do. Did that just freeze up again? Oh, gosh. Bye-bye.